We're live. All right. So welcome to Upturned Table. We're going to do a flip through, but we want to give it some context. So I'm Jeremy, and with me today is Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hello.
And we're working up to Mythic Bastionland. So this is the latest game by Chris McDowall, and we want to kind of talk about where this came from, because it does seem to be kind of the games are connected. The setting is connected, which is interesting. The mechanics have some connection, and it was kind of a design kind of iteration of what would work in different settings, and just kind of rethinking the basic concept from each of these games. So it's really fun, and I'll put a link to the his Chris McDowall's blog, because he has been posting all of his design work and inspirations and things for years, for more than a decade, more than since before the original Into the Odd. So what we'll look at today is the remastered Into the Odd, which is a beautiful book that he did in cooperation with the Free League Workshop, and of course Johan Nohr. That's why it's so beautiful. And then the next version, Electric Bastionland, which I think Matt has read through. I haven't read through. I've kind of flipped through, but I haven't read through Electric Bastionland. And then finally, we'll take a look at where before Into the Odd, so kind of where things started chronologically. But actually, this is the furthest evolution of the game. But the thinking is very interesting. I like the ideas of history and time and geography, kind of as he uses them. So from cities, from urban settings to rural settings, and how that affects thinking and time and people. So yeah, Matt, you've looked a little bit into Mythic Bastionland. What were your first impressions of the system, and kind of what he was trying to do?
Amazingly streamlined. Mm-hmm. It's been a while, because I kickstarted it. I only did the PDF, but I kickstarted it way back when, mm-hmm. and thought we were going to run it. Got close, got close enough that I did there's a mechanic in there for designing a city that's really fun. I did that, but it's very I don't know how to explain it. It's ethereal. Like it's definitely a modern sort of indie narrative thing where you're relying on your you're relying on the improvisational ability of everyone at the table to develop the story. And he kind of simplified the parameters of what you're dealing with by having like a city, and the city is just divided into nodes. And then you had sort of this underworld. I can't remember what he called it, where the rules don't work the same as you think they should.
Cool.
And then it had like a wilderness. So it's very, very modern, like stripped down. But it was all real engaging because he has all these really creative ideas, and it's just pages and pages of characters.
Yes,
and he's not into rolling up a character. Like he's not about like designing your own character and choosing from different options. Literally that book is full of character pages, and you just you're playing the character on that page.
Right.
And that's definitely a thing that I carries through to Mythic Bastionland. I don't have experience Into the Odd, but I would not be surprised if it's similar in there too.
Yes.
So, as sometimes I think when people try to make games like that, you run out of steam pretty fast because they're just not giving you very much. But he's so creative, and like his writing is very like, it kind of stimulates your imagination. So I think it probably has a lot more legs, and I think that's why it's well regarded.
Yeah. This reminds me of the character, just basically coming up with a random character reminds me a lot of Troika as well. So I'm not sure, which started out, but that was a very similar, and maybe also, similar to Powered by the Apocalypse, where you have playbooks. You're not really, you're kind of customizing the character a little bit, but you're basically, working from just some minor tweaks on a basic type, basic type of character. But so that's a thing that instead of a book being full of spells, it's full of characters, and you're basically you generate a random character, you roll a random character, and that's the page. You go to that page, and that's what you're playing. So and that's interesting. It might be. In some situations, I wonder if some groups it would work better where you rolled twice and picked one, or rolled 3 times and picked one, just in case, it's something that you're just like, I'm not going to connect with this. I don't know what to do with this. I think that random character thing could be difficult for some players to enjoy the kind of the oddness of it. And if you see the naming they used as well. So Into the Odd was the first book, and then Bastionland is deeper into the odd, and I guess because of the underworld, and Mythic Bastionland is before Into the Odd. So it's an interesting, it's legend and myth, and so it's before Remembered Time, but it's before Remembered Time of Bastionland, basically, of this civilization. Yeah. So very interesting. The way that these games connect, and kind of what what he's trying to do, and kind of the development of ideas. So let's start with Into the Odd, and I think this is kind of this smaller size, this A5 smaller book size works well, and this is the remaster, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I think the original one. Published or released in 2014. I'm not sure if there was a physical copy, if it was first just digital. It had its indie look, and there was some decent art, but this is just completely really, really amazing. I mean, I think it was well worth the crowdfunding and everything to do this. So we got a little spot varnish on the front, and this is fabric on the spine. And then, so a rules light, flavor heavy role-playing game of industrial horror and cosmic strangeness. Nice. So I think this is 2002. Look at the marbled end papers. Yeah, so it's very antique-y, like in its look, which I think maybe fits the odd, kind of a sense of time and things that the game is supposed to have. Yeah, but really... really nice presentation. But yes, the new to RPGs. So a lot of interesting, collage. It's almost like going to like an antique paper show or something. There's just flipping through old magazines and etchings and books.
Is that like an old fair use photograph he's incorporated?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it looks like an antique. Yeah, it looks like an antique photo. And I think it's since he's collaged over it too. Yeah, I think it's. So yeah, your starter packages, your companions. So a lot of rolling to generate the character. So I guess based on how many hit points you have, right? Let's see here. So rolling a character, you get your 3 stats, your ability scores. 10 is the average, D6 hit points. Oh, interesting. So yeah, basically what you get on your hit point roll for your D6 is what your starting package is based on then another 3d6 roll. Nice. And that's funny. That like makes sense because of course the 6 hit point starting character is going to be a little hardier. So he may be able to handle heavier weapons. And here's the explanation of all the equipment. And the interesting thing, so here he did give values. So I don't know pennies, shillings, and guilder. So there's a money system. By the time we get to Mythic Bastionland, there's only rarity. There's only common, uncommon. There is no rarity because, he was trying to think of like, well, would a knight go into a shop and buy a sword? It would be something that would be given to him, or something passed down, or something inherited. So it's a It seems odd for knights to do shopping, so there is no money in Mythic Bastionlands at all. Nothing has value; it just has rarity. So based on how you could possibly have it, and probably in the description of your knight, it would kind of allude to how much access they would have to wealth. Anyhow, but this does do pennies, shillings, and guilder, and then saves turns and actions. Yep. So. So we're rolling under on a d20. 1 is always a success. 20 is a failure. Attacks and damage. So damage to your HP. Then when you have no HP left, you move to strength. And once you have no strength... you pass the strength, sorry. Then you're removed from your strength score, and then after you pass that... I was just looking at something that did this as well. So once your HP was gone... then it did damage to a stat, and the kind of death state, like if you lost all of your strength, then you couldn't move. If you lost all of your wisdom or intellect, then you couldn't, you were brain dead, basically. So it had like an effect on it and gave you, like a larger... what was that we were just... I was just looking at a system.
Well, a lot of the year zeros are kind of like that.
Oh, right.
You can take stat damage, and then being broken is when a stat goes to 0.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and there's the short rest. Resting, and then the arcana. Highly sought after items. So the setting, and I think it doesn't... It just barely gets into it, right? The setting of the city. Let me double check. Yeah, after the expedition. So basically you're
definitely more of an Electric Bastionland thing,
right? Yeah, you're traveling. So this is more of an adventurer's overland. Oh, and a nice example of play in the middle. Yeah, this is just beautiful. I just wanted to flip through this, just to give you an idea of the look of this, and look at all of the sections are separated, colored frames and things. So they definitely the rules look like they're all black, and then any other examples of things are blue or that kind of aquamarine.
It's almost like a better organized, more toned down Morkborg in graphic presentation.
Mm-hmm,
like you have these really intriguing art pieces that don't correlate with each other really, but they're all real intriguing. And then there's a lot of difference from chapter to chapter, but it's way more decipherable than Morkborg.
Right. Yeah. Like these descriptions aren't actually embedded in the image itself in the collage itself.
Yeah.
And you're trying to read some unreadable font and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So between expeditions, you can try your hand at business. So your enterprises and war. Yeah. And so the thing that he kept saying, talking about Mythic Bastionland and basically all of his work, is some of the rules that are given in here, aren't really necessary or kind of common sense, or the GM or the players could work it out in the session. You don't actually need things explained, but it does help to, kind of bring to form the setting and tell you more, give you more information of this is how this is handled in this setting. Like this is how war works. This is how ships work. And to make sure that, so it's all the rules and the flavor of the setting are working together. So sometimes you'd think, oh, I don't really need a rule for that. But it's the intent is to let you know how these things work in this world. I thought that was a nice touch. And he kept talking about those sorts of things. Oh, good. And some advice for running the game for the referee.
Yeah, all these books, I mean, I think his style is very much like a vibe plus a toolkit. Like it's not hammered out as much as a traditional RPG is, but he definitely conveys the vibe he wants to convey very well.
Right. And the money and treasures. A blue iron death gun, for example. Obstacles, tricks, and hazards. Yeah, this is so nicely presented. Yeah, and it's very readable. That's nice that it's laid out in a very readable. The interesting thing is that this works well and is laid out really well for this size. When we look at Electric Bastionland, it looks like they had a little more room than they imagined. There probably could have been some more art or some decorative border or something that helped to make sense of how much space they had on the page. But moving to a full-size rule book, I think that changes a lot. So things like Troika or a lot of the more zine, based indie RPGs have never gotten bigger than this because there's not enough information, first of all. So, this is as thick as it's going to get. And, they're just, it's hard to fill all that space unless, you're going to do endless tables or maps or lists. So the world, the Outworld, what's that?
That piece looks like Terry Gilliam type stuff.
Right yeah, it does. Yeah, definitely how it's collaged. Yeah. Yep. So already Bastion is named into the hub of humankind. So Bastion is the only city that matters. Its skies are black with smoke and its streets bustling with residents. Vast factories produce mass goods fed by canals and rails from every corner of the world. Yeah, so it's the city. And I wonder what his inspiration was, because I don't think he's working in London. So I wonder if it's like the countryside and Manchester, or I wonder what because especially if it's like an industrial city, I'm curious like what his city in England is the inspiration. Oh, and wait, let me check something. No, I don't think he did that in this one. Yeah, there was just a more explanation of the world. In the next one, there's Electric Bastionland has a kind of a preface that is just an explanation of the setting, just sentence, at a time. And it's very, very interesting how evocative that is. And like right away, you kind of get a sense of, the tone they're going for and how it's going to work. And these are nice uncoated pages, so we don't have any glare. It looks very beautiful. Oh, yeah. So the Deep Country is the world outside of the city. And so basically that was the evolution. So the Deep Country evolved into what kind of Mythic Bastionland became, because Mythic Bastionland is more of a hex crawl. Sorry, around the countryside. So the Deep Country. It was a big inspiration. Beyond.
He has more world details in this book than Electric Bastionland does. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wonder if he was expecting people to go from this because when he was talking about the remaster for this, the interesting thing he said is he didn't think anybody was playing this anymore. Everybody had moved on to Electric Bastionland, but he was surprised there was still a very active community that liked this game, and it never got crowdfunded. It was like his original release, and thought it deserved to be kind of remastered in this way to kind of bring it up to the standard of the other books that got crowdfunding. And yeah, so it's interesting because I wonder, if he thought people would be familiar with this or familiar what he tried to do with this setting before they got to Electric Bastionland. So stop reading if you intend to play these locations. So it gives some different locations. Oh, nice. And maps. Yeah, this feels very Troika. And also, I guess Morkborg is the same thing. It's like a one page. It's like a map and locations for the adventure sites and things.
Yeah, they keep it real stripped down, and they really... See, this is a game that I think would be a lot of fun, but it's a classic example to me of a game that probably shouldn't be baby's first RPG. Right.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Because this is counting on the game master seeing some inspiring information and running with it.
No, that's true.
They're not going to give you like D&D text boxes to read or location by location big descriptions and stats and it's a little different vibe.
Oh, there's some hexes. Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right. And he, intends that just a phrase or the adjectives used to describe something, basically creates a lot of, does a lot of inspiring work for the GM and is enough of a hook to help him kind of flesh things out. Yeah, I would imagine if you were just handed this, never having played a role-playing game before, you wouldn't know how to even get it to the table. I think there's actually, one of the reviews of Mythic Bastionland, somebody said, they said that about that Ultraviolet Grasslands book, that they really liked reading the book, they enjoyed that setting, but they have no idea how to run it. It's like they just didn't... They couldn't figure out how the pieces go together.
Oh, that was that Quinn guy.
Yeah, right.
I watched that video too.
That's right. Yes. So, and they have the border. It's really easy to identify all these adventure sites because the borders are all this green, aquamarine green. All right, and then the odd pendium. So a lot of tables. It looks like a lot of tables to do stuff.
So what I'm noticing, because I don't have experience of Into the Odd, is they don't like the big full page character that you roll up or you just randomly pick is not a thing in this one. Right. So that was like an evolution in the next two games.
Yeah. So it might have been more inspired by Troika, because I think Troika after he wrote this, I think Troika was more established by that time, and a lot of people were doing, and maybe he even did some development for them, because that seems to be the inspiration. Yeah, because you are rolling stats. You're rolling. We saw at the beginning. You have 3 ability scores, and you roll your HP, and that gives you your gear.
And is that really it? Is it just stats and gear?
Yep, I think so. Yeah. So at your ability scores. Yep.
No classes. Not even like feats and flaws and things.
Right.
So super stripped down.
Yeah, there really isn't. Yeah, there's no kind of role play. There's no how the characters know each other, their motivations, their histories at all. Yeah. This is just the stuff you got, and you're outside of the city. Do your thing.
Because all of the characters in Electric Bastionland have weird little backstory things and quirks to them that are pretty fun.
Nice. Yeah, so for the introduction to this, let's see if so you're explorers, right? So the world is too large for explorers to map, too old for academics to record. Expeditions return with tales of places bizarre, wondrous, and horrific. Yeah, so the underground. So there's Bastion, and then there's the underground. Stretches just as far, sewers and tunnels and ancient caves. Yeah, so they don't go into like a very exact motivation for the characters. That was the I think Electric Bastionland does that, right? Because they have a debt. Right? They instantly say you are a character with a bad career and a big debt. Yeah.
Yeah, you owe somebody something. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So characters are pretty straightforward. So we'll finish out the Adpendium here. Astral cults. What is beyond the darkness? So do 100 rolls.
I eat this stuff.
I eat this stuff. It's delicious. Oh, strength save or your guts explode. Yeah, so I really admire people that can generate, like, can do a whole list of D100 entries and have all of them be interesting. You know, there's not just like some random fillers. Nothing quite happens.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's impressive. And this is, I mean, I've just been flipping page after page of these things.
See, and it's funny too because I know that some people that run games like this will literally use the charts on the fly and just improv their way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love these charts to help me like prep something, but I don't know if I would want to do. Just, okay, guys, on the fly, let's roll this dice, see what I get. Here we go, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, well, let's roll with that. Yeah. Oh, I like this alternative character group. So you can be mutants from the underground. I think that would be a fun way to play. So you get your mutation. You got a different, different set of your stats. So based on your highest ability. Simple folk. Unhumans, and then alternative starter packages. So you should declare whether you're using the standard or alternative. Nice, and then a little index page. Yeah, really, I mean, this presentation is so nice. And just, compared to, if you take a look at the previous PDF, just very, much more straightforward. This is nice. This has, a lot more kind of inspirational, like weird nostalgic collage, and so you feel this like weird timelessness because of the mashup between kind of new and old. And yeah, beautiful.
Does he self-publish?
This, I think originally he did. I think the first version of this was kind of an itch.io.
Oh, it's on the Free League site.
Yeah, but this version, this remaster done with Johan Nohr was done with the through the workshop, with Free League, and this was a crowdfunder as well. So what was nice in the crowdfunder is they also had this as an option. So that's how I got my hands on both and didn't have to pay insane shipping. All right, so let's take a look. So this was 2014 was the original, 2022 was the remaster, and then Electric Bastionland, Deeper into the Odd was the next part. And like Matt was already talking about, and like they're suggesting here, you randomly, get your character, randomly come up with a character that you're playing. So, and this is Alec Sorensen as well. So Alec Sorensen did these illustrations. The Mythic Bastionland illustrations are insane. They're so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they're really, really beautiful. I think he had a lot of time. Oh, and they consulted with Rowan Rickendecker maybe to how to present the game. So I don't know. I mean, it would have been, I guess if you double the size of this book, it would have been an unwieldy, more pocket-sized book, like an A5. It would have been insanely thick. They'll probably have to do 2 volumes. But when you look at how the use of the space on the page and stuff, this is a little bit too much real estate, I think, for the information on some of these pages. But it's a nice looking book, and the Sorensen illustrations are just absolutely wonderful. All right, and so this is 2020. Wow, so yeah, not long. So it was just a few years before he decided, well, let's get that other game remastered. Yeah, and so Bationland Press. So Bationland.com is his blog, and Bationland Press is the Okay, so we publish this under. So this is the page. Yeah, this is very kind to my old eyes because I'll never need reading glasses. Look at the size of this font. I could read this from across the room. But this I thought was a really nice way to immerse you in the setting and kind of like, so Into the Odd didn't really have any of that. They're just talking about, this is the city and this is the wilds and this is under the city and let's go from here. But who are you in this context? This starts to really, hone in on what your characters are going to do in Bastionland. So Bastion, the electric hub of mankind, the only city that matters. The deep country, it stretches forever, the long shadows of our past. In the underground, machines undermine reality. Aliens are here from beneath the living stars. And you have a failed career. You have a colossal debt. Treasure is your only hope. So that's giving you your motivation for why you're going underground or outside the city at all. And so here's all of our chapters. So playing the game examples of play, equipment again, and then the failed careers. Yeah, so if you look, failed careers start at 17 and they end at 237.
Yeah, that's a big chunk of the book.
Yes, so we'll go through that. And yeah, there's so many that we'll go through quickly so we don't spoil too much, because I think the fun would be, as for the player, is just rolling something, turning to that page and go, okay, what is this? Seeing it for the very first time at the table, I think would be really fun for what you're going to have to play. Yeah. But they should give you a mulligan or something where you're just like, I just can't do this. I can't be a baker. I can't be a baker with pollen allergies. I don't know how to play that. So yeah, let's see. But yeah, nice presentation. This frame that kind of rounds the pages.
Yeah,
and it's it's less antique and more like an updated. The style is very clean and feels a little less timeless, I guess, than the Into the Odd presentation. But really nice. So. Chapter explains how to create a character and play the game. Don't read the rules if you don't want to. Players don't need to read the rules if they don't want to. Yeah, so it should be. And the GM is the conductor. All right. Oh yeah. So based on your highest and lowest ability scores, again, you're consulting. So this is generating careers, right? So you do generate 3 attributes. So we've got strength, dex, and charisma, and then based on that here's a little matrix to tell you. So consult the table to discover what you did before you were a treasure hunter. So match your highest, your highest ability to your lowest, and that will give you. Or if another player already has that career, roll a D100 and get a unique number. That's cool. Nice. And character growth. Your characters become more grizzled and scarred. They become hardier, and the oddness of the world starts to rub off on them. Nice. And your default equipment is lamps and batteries, climbing and camping equipment, food, and water. So here's the simple rules for the game. So your scars table from damage. Oh, it's nice, and they get little examples in boxes and combat tips. Before you roll any dice, check for any extra combatants that are attacking. So the goal, you are treasure hunters. The conductor gives you a tip-off to a piece of treasure somewhere dangerous. Your goal is to bring it back safe. And the conductor describes the world and acts on the behalf of the non-player characters. Yep, and we're D20 rolling under on a D20. Simple combat. Dex saves for surprise. Oh yeah, so yeah, kind of for initiative. All right, blast and bonus damage, critical damage. Here's all of their equipment. Nice, and they do have money in Electric Bastionland as well. So yeah, but more updated I guess it's electric, so we're definitely.
It's like electro punk.
Yeah, right. Electro punk city. So your failed careers, whatever you find in your failed career represents your past. You may cling to it as it drifts from your life, or turn your back on it entirely. If you desire extra information about your abilities or equipment, then have a discussion with the group, and the conductor makes a call. The gutter minder. You're the bottom of the barrel. Bastion's crust. Yeah, I guess it's funny because one should be a critical success, but it's not. Curiosity compiler, a trench conscript.
I think I can't remember what it was. But one of these is like a sea monster or something weird, like really, really out there.
Well, yeah. So, and then it'll tell you what you get as far as your equipment, and then what you do to unwind, and then what's the best thing you've stolen. So yeah, thematic answers to questions, and that's based on first how much money you have, and then how many hit points you have. So each of your debt squeezers could be a little different based on that. I'm trying to get this glare off, maybe like this. There we go.
That's pretty good. But again, it's really just the vibes and your gear. Like there's no like, oh, this profession had this special ability, or it's all just kind of the vibes and whatever gear you have.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. So there's obviously, they're referencing a criminal underground, and also, some sort of moneyed class that may hire investigators or guards, or you may fumigate their houses.
Yeah.
Nice. And this is your past. That's the funny thing too. This is like kind of, so like that starter class in Warhammer Fantasy, this is like where you came from, not where you want to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
A professional gambler, an integrated alien. There you go. You have a weird gun, steel rope, and a vague accent. Hey, I'd be awesome at doing the vague accent.
Yeah. Let's all do our Borat.
Yeah, right. Traveling show person, gang enforcer. Yeah, some of these have a little bit of, would have a little bit of weight or a little bit of authority. But I guess they are failed. Like, you did leave them. So this is where you started. So even if it was something that had status or some sort of salary or whatever, it's gone now. And yes, the urchin pack, muddled mixologist.
Oh, the urchin pack's funny because I think you actually play a group of kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get D6 pocket knives and D4 rocks.
Yeah.
You might be more than one person.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. How many of you are there? Based on HP, it's.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, that would be really fun to play, because then you name everybody and just like switch voices the whole time.
Yeah. Try to give them different attitudes and stuff. It'd be kind of fun.
And you get to swarm everybody. Nice. Muddled mixologist. Oh, interesting. There's a few of these characters are credited. They have writer credits. Let's see if that's the first one. Oh, no. Yeah, so like Rook Tamer has Emmy Allen. And so, it was a maybe collaborative effort, and Mary Hamilton did the mixologist. That's interesting. And it's nice, too. I mean, that's great for a designer not to say, hey, that's a great idea, thanks, and then just put their name on it in their book. He actually gave credit to the people that wrote the failed career.
It's funny, too, like, he has, like, the little sample names in there and everything, and that he takes to a whole nother level in Mythic Bastionland.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, with like all the little things on every page, that don't even necessarily matter, have to be for that thing. It's cool.
Right. Oh, yeah, and this is I was wondering if there was a table to generate debt, but your failed career generates the debt. Yeah, so If you're the youngest player, the whole group is 10K in debt. Yeah. So yeah, there is a way to generate what that large debt is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, now I'm remembering that. So yeah, the youngest player is the one responsible for the debt, and their page tells you who it's to. Yeah, now I'm remembering that.
Nice. Masked Horist. Some of these I will not be able to pronounce. Rollicker Club alumni. Quick Legionnaire. Wow, we're already to 28, and that's not even halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just getting one of these and then, having to make sense of it. Amon Mulholland did the Medicant Mycologist. There has to be alliteration, right? There has to be, Investment Centurion. Polar Bounty Hunter. Necro Engineer. Yeah, some of these, you get somber formal wear and a shovel. Great, thanks. Yeah, but I like that. In the beginning, it said you're going to have the equipment you would need to leave the city. So you'll have camping equipment and food and water.
I remember that mockery that you just passed.
Oh,
I think it's like a kind of like a puppet come to life or something.
Oh, geez. Yeah. An imitation of life in felt and wood and string. You don't need to eat, drink, or sleep or love, but you still feel the drives. So you have a hidden knife and mock bombs. Nice. Yeah, so basically an untransformed Pinocchio. Yeah, so and then how do you fit that in? Like, how do you you could really end up with a just insane combination of characters, from these careers.
Yeah. I don't know if he dwells on it in the beginning part or not, but it would definitely be worthy of having the players sort of discuss and come up with why they're in this together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that would be worthwhile. Yeah, because coming from all these disparate backgrounds, might be hard. Yeah, we'll see. A noble in waiting. Cracker. Yeah, I like the style that he chose for this. It's weirdly graphic and interesting, but it's not quite Art Deco or anything. Like, it's not too reminiscent of a kind of historic illustration style. So I think it works well to give you a weird sense of like when this is happening. An expelled lamplighter. You had one job and you couldn't even do that. Mm-hmm. Tax collector, academic debater. Yeah, and I think if you were just presented with this list and we're told to choose one, I think that it's too many options. I don't think you would ever be. So I think
too many.
Yeah, randomly generating I think is a good idea because you would spend forever. Okay, I've got it narrowed down to 14 possible. So it's good.
Yeah, these games are not for the min-maxers of the world. That's for sure.
Right. Science mystic. Front of house host. A critter catcher. Practicing chemist. A roof crawler. Nice illustration. Petty officer. Bailed prisoner. Street performer. Corpse collector. Yeah, a lot of death jobs. Crypto historian. Counterfeit taxidermist.
Hi, smuggler.
Recent studies claim 68% of smuggled goods have been pastry encased. Business was good. Well, I could put it in a pie. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so basically that's what you have, a pie tin and a pie. But there's something in the pie. It could be a gun in the pie. You never know.
Yeah. What's in your pie? It's a whole chart.
Yeah, right. Roll a D100 and let's find out. Council Runner Life Servant. Yeah, and I like the fact that it's not all ridiculous. It's evocative and it's trying to build on a setting or give you an image of like the types of people that exist in Bastion. And it's not all for humor. Like you easily could do this, like if you did like a very cartoony, very, exaggerated, like Roger Rabbit, Toontown version of this.
Yeah.
You could go way, way out, but everything has some sort of, reality that's based in it. Like you worked for the underworld, you worked for the police force, you worked for pest exterminators. Oh, a recluse. Yeah. You just have ragged clothes. A squid beggar. Exposed imposter. Critic in hiding. Nice. So everybody loves a scathing critique, except those under the lens. For safety, you've changed your name and got a new haircut. Nice. Small town refugee. Paid fighter. Canal nomad. Living experiment. Oh no. So what do you get? You get a crutch, a bulky D6 crutch. Fashionista. Human flotsam. Blender, public nuisance. Yeah, and I think it works well, and maybe that's why I think Troika is the same sort of thing. It's a city, it's an urban, whatever time it's set in, it's still an urban environment. So that gives you the ability to have this many careers and roles, like this many types of characters and their origins. Yeah, if you did it in a small town of the countryside, I mean, how many variations of farmer could you have?
You're right. Yeah.
Yes, civic butler, estate squire, machine whisperer, agricultural saboteur. And I think it's interesting. I like the design where there's just pops of color. Like some pages will have a single tone. Animal vassal, massivist of a massive country. Oh my god, everything is big in massive country. You stop growing just below the ceiling. Oh, nice. So you are a giant.
That's funny.
A huge body. Huge fists and a huge body. Mastiff. Good to dog. Oh, you're just playing as a dog?
Or a good dog, yeah.
Still a dog. Smarter than many people.
You have collar and teeth.
Nice. A worthless graduate. You mean everybody playing this game? All right, alliterative groomers, avant-guardsmen, victory retainer, grief diplomat, lone stargazer, tunnel stray, body jockey, underground weirdo. Oh no, inseparable twins. You have matching sabers and matching clothes. Constable of birds and creeping things. Exotic food suppliers. Tactilatrix. Oh, man. Thank you, Arnold Kemp. The power of touch. You have velvet gloves and... Oh, you have velvet gloves and steel gauntlets. Nice. It's all about the touch. Tucker. A map thief. An X sensor. And yeah, wow. That is all of those. So what did we get it to? Yeah, to 100. And then the conductor's guide. So instructions for running things. So no two visions of Bastionland are quite the same. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. When it is this open, the group is going to really push it, one way or another. What that means, what their failed career means to them is going to really change the interpretation. Your bastion will draw from the city you live nearest to. The first one that you explored alone, felt overwhelmed by crowds, that distant metropolis you always wanted to visit. The deep country feeds your own fears. Oh, so this is nice. Yeah, so kind of telling the conductor where to draw your inspiration. Like there's not a lot here, so yeah, draw from your experience. What was being in a city like? What is the the deep country feeds on your fears of isolation and backwards thinking people. The world is discovered at the table, not inside a book. Nice. And then prepping the game, coming up with the treasure, the expedition, the rival. Oh, this sounds like Outgunned Adventure.
Yeah, kind of.
The temple, the rival. Nice. Yeah, so create an opening, ability scores, behavior checklist. Yeah, so they don't... Yeah, they're talking about just creating the adventure, not like bringing the characters together. So yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything.
Yeah, I think they
so
leave that
far.
to you.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you're united by this debt, but it's kind
Right.
of on the characters to decide what was behind all that. You know?
Right, right. And then random game inspirations. Yeah. 2d20 spark tables. Conducting the game, so all of the rules. Yeah, so this looks like a good screen, like content for a good GM screen. Example luck tables. The odd world of Bastionland. So a world without maps. Bastion sprawls and changes so quickly that maps are obsolete the day after they're drawn. The deep country stretches forever, and who cares what's out there anyhow? The underground and the living stars defy conventional geography. Wow. Yeah, so you just have little locations, and here's looking at Bastion. So understanding the principles. Everything is here. Everything is complicated. Everything is shared. Everything you find and everything you want is tied to some person in some way. Everything is here. People, mockeries, aliens, machines, and nobody knows who's in charge. Nice. Mapping Bastion. Stalking Bastion. Conducting it. So to get to the underground, the entrances always look normal. To get to the deep country, the underground is the fastest but dangerous. Is fast but dangerous. And get to the living stars, the underground must be traveled deeper than you would like. Ships must pass through the mists that break reality.
Yeah, I think he used to have a YouTube channel a long time ago, but he quit doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I remember watching. He did a video of showing how to design a city, with the
nice.
routes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of neat.
Oh, that's cool. So conducting it, industry, academia, stargazing. So these are the touchstones. There are common things affecting people's lives and frequent topics of conversation. Random inspiration for that. Oh, you have a table of cocktails, of course. And then the deep country explained. Understanding deep country. So the principles here are things were better before, things are simplistic, everything is inconvenient. Mapping it, mapping deep water. Oh yeah, because there were some careers that were water-based. So you have deep country and deep water. Then conducting it and more tables and things. And then the underground. So the principles here are it connects everything, everything is a test, and it sits just beneath reality. All right, so mapping it and stocking it. Conducting. Oh, this is getting a little Mork Borgy.
Yeah.
Do I need to read this? I don't know.
I think they're just trying to do the whole reality is breaking in the underground.
Yes, right. Yeah, things aren't working. Yeah, all the upside down crazy portals and things. Yes. So the touchstones are connections, mutations, difficulty, darkness, claustrophobia, cruelty, tunnel aesthetics. So screaming winds, disgusting smell, metal vermin. Wonderful. The hazards are, nice, adjectives, a laughing misery, a tuneless, tuneless whistling disgust. And then inhabitants. So Bastionland is nothing when it sits empty. There are people, mockeries, aliens, machines, monstrosities, and things that sit between boundaries. This chapter gives you what you need to be able to quickly populate Bastionland. Make them matter. So here's the people. So key principles for making people. There are all sorts, and they're everywhere. Everybody relies on somebody else for something, and they're always in your way. And the mockeries. These are creatures of... Oh, so these are the puppet folks. Creatures of felt, wood, and string given a spark of life. They act as humans, but their needs are only imitated. Children love them. Real animals hate them. So there's a whole class of...
It's like the sad teddy bear down there.
Right. I don't know if I'd want to get stuck playing a mockery. And then the machines. They are one with the underground, or at least they're part of it. They instigate change and monitor the results. They want to teach you a lesson. The aliens. They're more advanced than us, but in a very specific way. Their form reflects their home, and they bring something with them and seek to take something back. Yeah, this almost has, with this illusion of rounded pages, almost has like a guidebook, like a weird manual guidebook feel. Nice. The monstrosities, they are made unique, not born. They attract attention. They're always there's always a compelling set of reasons to see them destroyed. All right, and just like into the oddinum. So Bastionland sprawls beyond the reach of this book. It cannot be contained. So the first half of this chapter is a series of articles offering further explanation on how to run the game. A second half contains sample content that is apocryphal and may have no place in your world. All right, it's a strategy guide. Ducking, sneaking, fighting. People are everywhere. The ICI doctrine. Doctrine might be a bit strong. Stacking them one by one results. So trying to keep 3 words in my head whenever I'm planning or running a game. They're a 3-beat tempo of the game. So information, choice, and impact. Yeah, I think that was mentioned in the other one as well. So pacing, informed danger and death, big impact. The city as an adventure site. Foreground growth and active survival. Why conductor? So role-playing games usually depend on one player taking the responsibility of running the game. The classic term is game master, and I've previously used referee. But for Electric Bastionland, I wanted to reframe the role by using the name conductor. This is a long history. There's a long history of role-playing games. Game writers thinking they could reinvent the wheel by renaming the game master role, but I intend to honor that intend to honor that self-indulgent tradition. Nice. Good traps. Expose your prep. You might have heard attack every part of the character sheet from Arnold Kemp. Let's keep that and see how the players can capitalize on every bit of your prep. So find that the crime of giving too much information is minor in comparison to the heinous crime of giving too little information. Some small tables. The balancing act. Failed careers lightly balance characters with their higher scores and with their lower by giving the lower rolling player better equipment. This is a soft balance, as once play starts, those scores begin to fade away behind the player's decisions and the weird things they find. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that when we were looking through here. When you looked at that matrix, they are going to be people that have balancing it by you're not very capable, you don't have much experience, but you got a lot of junk. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't notice the how that worked with the various careers, but yeah, that makes sense. Union and rituals, the shallow quarter undergangs, the bastard hirelings, the cosmic angels, prototype weapons, Hollister judges. Yeah, so there is some inspiration for, what you might want in this setting. To get followers of fashion. Oh, a whole fashion component. You could play a whole Fashion Week campaign. Fashion Week in Bastion. Alien Dojos, Odd Marks, Example Burrow, Amberwood. Yeah, so interesting. So we were just looking at the Daggerheart and saying, there's not a setting, like people coming from 5e are going to expect a setting and like things. And this is, a kind of different take on that is kind of like build the setting. Here's the city, here's the underground, here's outside the city. What is that? And build that. And, but like you were saying, that it is a lot of work. I mean, you have to go into it knowing that, as a group, there's a lot more heavy lifting for the conductor and a lot more work for the players to figure out, how that all works.
Yeah, I was waiting for. I think we might have skipped it.
Oh,
I'm looking at the PDF right now.
Oh, okay.
From my Kickstarter. So around, let's see, the printed page number is 254. It looks like.
Okay. What did we miss?
Oh, right. Go back one page.
Oh, okay.
They actually have a really neat guide for how to map the city.
Oh, okay.
Like how to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically just drawing like routes with little nodes. And then you're just deciding what those nodes represent.
Oh wow! So like a map on like a train map or something. Yeah, like a.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And they tell you like using different colored pencils to represent different route types or whatever. Because I think they're supposed to be like electric monorails and stuff.
Right. Nice. Yeah, and that is like when you think of your early urban experiences, a lot of them is like you don't see a map of the city, you see a train map of the city, the train routes or the bus routes of the city, and kind of that's this neighborhood is in the west, this is in the north. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there it is. Landmarks and paths. So everywhere, place a dot at each point where routes cross. Mm-hmm. So that's where you just make a crazy design basically, and then where they cross, you are going to put a node and decide what kind of area that is.
Nice. Oh wow.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you are generating something on the fly, and like they said, there's not a map in this book of the city because it changes so much. So you're just going to have to map it for the moment that you're playing in it. Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Yeah, so later on, and you could just add more routes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's very true. Wow. Yeah, that's very cool. So the end paper on this one is actually a rule summary and then kind of a final summation from Chris McDowall. So let's get that glare. Electric Bastionland was written to be a role-playing game that anybody could play. I want to break down the barriers between how we imagine a game should be and how it plays at the table. This is a game to be played, not a textbook to be studied. It is designed for the game table, not the library. So the rules are false idols. Numbers are rarely the answer, and plain speech always beats specialist terminology. That's nice. I like that. That thinking.
Now, my only thing with these kind of games, it's the same thing I got from Cyborg and would probably get from Morkborg, is it's so reliant on everybody's investment and imagination and enthusiasm, because there's very little built-in lore or or built in like technical detail, you know?
Right.
So to have legs, you'd have to have a really enthusiastic group.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it would be fun to play, but I could see a group playing it for a bit and then there's not enough meat on the bone, so they kind of lose steam. That would be a concern. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It would just be a concern for me.
Yeah. And I would think, like, in your group, you would have to choose, like, whoever's going to be the conductor for this has to be, have the wildest imagination. Because if you have a player that's coming up with better ideas and better world building, in a session, or not, better, like, qualitatively, but just, like, is just really just, it's just interesting things are just pouring out of them. It feels like, well, why don't you take this over? Because you really do need to have the person that can just expound with like very wonderful detail about a bunch of random, with a bunch of random cues.
And actually, this is the kind of game that it hasn't happened to me very often, but there have been times where me and one other person have been like, well, we can just like sort of swap the GM responsibilities. Like you'll run an adventure and then I'll run an adventure kind of thing. This game probably would be really suited to that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. It's like, so this was an underground adventure, and then he's going to do the into the wilds, into the wild country. Yeah, no, that's very true. Yeah, and I think kind of like there's other things that this happens to, maybe like poets and things. It's like everybody like reading. You end up, the people that are going to listen to your poetry are just all other poets. And so I wonder if this has happened kind of to RPGs, is like everybody playing the game is an amateur or aspiring designer, so that's what this feels like. This era came out of, is because there are just people that want to just be participating in a story that's being told. They don't really want to be creating it. They want to be maybe reacting to it, but not creating it. But I think
exactly,
this is part of an age where everybody at the table is like, oh yeah, have you guys seen the game I'm working on? A bunch of game designers playing a game, because then they can put their inspirations in here. And I don't think this game could exist in the 70s in the same way. No. This takes a lot of, the history of people wanting to redefine tabletop, redefine what you're doing at in an RPG at a table, and everybody having a different level of output, and everybody being creative, maybe not in their work, but everybody having some aspiration to create some kind of creativity. Yeah, very interesting. Well, cool. Well, now on to the main event. So we've seen kind of where this came from and where it's leading up to. And so now we're going into the past. So this is connected.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh, sure.
So Into the Oz is available through Free League. I put a link in the chat.
Oh, thanks.
Electric Bastionland is available through Modifius.
Oh, wow.
So I put a link to that in the chat. But I'm assuming that this, because I couldn't find it, is not.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's so new. It's not yet available somewhere, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you can get it digitally. It's on drive-through digitally. So there's a link to that. But I'm not sure who's handling the distribution, and if it's just.
That's a beautiful book.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just looking at the, it's almost like the illustrator. Maybe they kind of like, came up with a style and kept to this kind of limited style for Electric Bastionland. But when you look at what this exact same illustrator did with Mythic Bastionland, it's just gorgeous. I mean, it is so, it's beautiful. It's like stained glass windows and medieval tapestries. It's amazing. Yeah. So digitally, I think it's available. So maybe it's going to get to retail eventually, because it did just fulfill not that long ago. It was just a month or so ago that it showed up. So
that makes sense.
So I think this was 2022 Electric Bastion. So I think we're 2024, and Mythic came up, and this was something I liked how it looked, and I liked what was going on with Into the Odd, and hadn't read Electric Bastionland yet, so I kind of went in this and Electric Bastionland for the crowdfunder, and yeah, this was really really amazing. I think it's an evolution of a lot of his designs, but also the look of this book is just it's just absolutely a wonderful creation. And the funny thing that he said, I think this was during the crowdfunder, he did a live stream talking about the game, and for this selected inspirations, I think he's got Chris McDowall has a good sense of humor, because the inspirations are actually games that he inspired. So like Cairn and Mausritter and so these
Pendragon though.
Right. But so games that are in there but he did say that he was inspired by what they took, what they took Into the Odd and went further with it, and he was very inspired by that, so he thought he would include it. But I thought it was pretty funny to thank people. So first printing, they're calling it 2025. So I guess it did come out this year, so 3 years after Electric Bastionland. Cool. And the one thing, this is going to be a weird maybe a little fetishy, weird sensualist thing. This book smells like a fucking book. Okay? Because we're getting way too used to the cheap Chinese printing, the animal glue that smells like cat piss and whatever they are doing over there. So this book specifically was printed in Latvia at the Livonia print. And when I took the bubble wrap off of this, I smelled a book like this, the materials that they used and everything. This is like being in a library. This is like being in a bookstore. It smelled amazing. So I just wanted to, that's what's going to be missing from the video, is how good this book smells, because of how well it was put together. And it wasn't printed.
I bet his contacts with Freely probably got him in with those guys.
Yes, and it makes such a difference too. I mean, it's really amazing that everybody's just resorted to the cheaper the cheaper option. But here is just a cheat sheet. The end paper is a cheat sheet of all of the nights that you can play.
That is such a Dark Horse Mike Mignola thing to do. Like, they would do those collage of thumbnails of Mike Mignola art in books and stuff.
Yeah, and the graphic, the composition of the illustrations and just how graphic, but also how beautiful they are is really striking. So he started out with a poem, and if you want to hear Chris McDowall read this poem, if you tune one of his live streams, he begins with reading this. But it, just like the sentences of Electric Bastionland kind of establish the setting, he really wanted to establish what you're doing here. And this is a time, like, Bastion as the city will eventually exist, and this is the time of myth before then. So this is the time of knights, and and it basically in the poem itself, in the holdings and havens, the vassals dwell. Seers know the all, the start and the end. Myths hushed aloud, to which truth must abend. So knights render these stories, wrenched from their veils, for the oath, for the glory, through the sorrow and the ache, the city, that quest to which no knight can make. So finding that city never. So there is no civilization yet. Like they're seeking someday to have that the civilization of what Bastion becomes, but it doesn't exist yet. So I think there's a really interesting way to kind of set the tone of the game, and then not going right away with character creation, but starting with kind of, okay, what kind of game do you want to play? I think this was an interesting way, because I don't know. They talked about like how to make a campaign, how to kind of generate places and a city and a campaign. But this is like, before you even go into it, figure out the scope and scale of what you're doing, so that you can modify things accordingly, because you can age out, you can become an older knight, and have to step down, or you can become a ruler. You can ascend. So they talk about the wanderers are young knight errants, the courtiers are mature knight gallants, and the rulers are mature knight tenants. So you have different. You're generating different scores. And the interesting thing, I'm not sure, it's probably later in the book that they talked about, is when your character ages, so you determine between each of your sessions or each, pieces of your campaign, how much time has passed. And there is a mechanic for aging. So the characters, you roll against your scores, against your attributes, and if you roll lower, that represents the decline of age. I thought that was really an interesting way to handle that, and really fun to have to play that, because you played the vital, smarter, stronger version of that character. Yeah, and now play them as diminished. So glory is the so all knights seek glory, that they might one day be deemed worthy of the city quest. Yeah, so the city and civilization is what you're seeking. So you can gain glory through myths, and glory by other means.
Essentially, Bastion is the Holy Grail.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Yeah. Yes. So, and that will determine your rank as a knight based on how much glory you have. So that's why you're pursuing these myths. That's why you're exploring and taking on these quests, is to gain glory and be worthy of the city quest. And so we've got the 3 stats again, and it looks like they're renamed to make them a little more thematic. So vigor, clarity, and spirit, and you also have guard. And then, yes, roll or choose a knight. Oh, so we're going to get to that section again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like the layout of this book too. Is very pleasing. I don't know if it's the same. Did they talk about who did? Oh no, Chris McDowall did. Yeah, so if he laid out Electric Bastion, he's evolved definitely, and maybe like tools and stuff he's using. The layout of this book is really beautiful, and it doesn't have any like, oh, that could have, that didn't need that whole page. It feels very well, and also Bastionland was double Electric Bastionland was double thickness. All right, so we've got our virtues. Oh yeah, 3. So they're called virtues. These stats that you choose, and then every knight has sworn an oath: seek the myths, honor the seers, and protect the realm. So basically, that's one of the things you'll be doing. Like one of the sessions will involve doing one of these things. So seeking out a location where a myth is supposed to be, visiting the seers, and possibly having a lot of trouble, and then just protecting the realm. And then they have rules for companions, for squires. Nice. So the basic rules. So yep, we're D20 equal or below. Your relevant virtue. The virtues are reduced and raised in a number of ways, but can never go higher than 19 or lower than 0. Turns are enough time to perform. It's interesting. So move is first. So in a turn, you move and then do something. So it's not like you have the option of retreating or doing. Yeah. So you're probably motivating you to move into combat or to stay more engaged. And surprise, reaction, your feats. So special actions known to the knights can be performed as described. Using feats risks the knights becoming fatigued, which prevents them from using further feats until their rest, and death. Even the boldest knight can die. So yeah, it looks like simple and more straightforward combat. You've got your dice sizes for your weapons.
Something worth mentioning too is it's not really a to hit roll.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, everything hits. Yeah,
you just roll your damage, and then maybe they do something about it.
Right. Yeah, that's like everything hits. So yeah, just like the monsters in Dragonbane. Yeah, they don't roll to hit. They just roll to see which way they hit you.
Yeah.
And how you can tank that. Yeah. So harm and scars. So lose virtue. Oh yeah, and so yeah, this is a very similar. So the idea of so I don't think you have. So unlike the other games, there aren't hit points. So you didn't generate any hit points. You just have your virtue. So you lose virtue from attacks. So they're reduced by damage. And when your vigor is 0, you're exhausted. When your clarity is 0, you're exposed. And when your what is SP spirit? When your spirit is 0, you are impaired. You're only rolling a D4. Nice. And then you can recover. Vigor is restored by consuming sustenance or spending a full day in warm hospitality. Clarity is restored by consuming stimulants, and spirit is restored by consuming a sacrament or indulging a passion. That's cool. And then yes, you take take the die that caused the scar and roll it again, consulting the table. Oh, that's cool. So whichever size die. So I guess that's interesting too. The bigger the weapon that hit you, the more chance you have of a horrible scar. So if you're just taken down by a dagger, you'll get distressed. And then the specifics of combat. So feats, using a feat, you must pass a save or become fatigued, unable to perform that feat until you rest. So smite, release your rage, focus, create an opening to exploit, and deny, rebuff an attack before it lands. And then there are gambits. So attackers may discard any number of attack dice of 4 or higher to perform a gambit. Each one is causing one of the effects below. The affected foe must target the original attacker. So you can bolster, move, repel, stop, impair, trap, dismount, or another effect. Oh, that's cool. So kind of a targeted, targeted attack with a mechanical effect. And a strong gambit.
Combat. It's a way to do combat tricks, but still keep it really simple.
Yeah. No, that's true. And the strong gambits are no save or a greater effect. And then there are minor actions, changing weapons, dismounting. Bonus dice, gained from useful information. D8 is typical. Unarmed combat, ranged combat. Purely ranged cannot be used if the attacker began their turn engaged. Protective cover grants additional points. And then mounted, so mounted combat will have to be... So combatants use their steed. Their steed's trample damage in addition to their own. So you get your horse's trample and your mount's trample and your weapon as well. Being dismounted causes D6 damage. And then duels and jousts. Oh yeah, this was something that I think MacDowall referred to as something that you could probably just figure out. Just use the combat rolls, but making it more specific and giving instruction or details helps to flesh out how to handle things in the world and what the world is like. So 2 combatants can mutually agree to engage in a duel or a joust if mounted. They fight as normal, but their attacks are rolled and resolved simultaneously, including effects of gambits. Both combatants must use feats before the attacks are resolved. Mutually engaging in combat. And then, building warbands. 24 or so combatants fighting together are treated as a single warband. So you can assemble warbands to fight. Yeah, and they have the stats for what a militia would have, what a skirmisher would have, mercenaries, riders, and then knights. Yeah, and then artillery and siege. Wood and stone, so construction, the strength of construction. Yeah, so some simple rules for warfare, for different scales of warfare. Arms and goods. So only the rich deal in coins. Most trade is exchange of raw materials, goods, or services. Frequent trades often grow into ongoing pledges of service, cooperation, or protection. Yeah, so things don't have... so weapons are just, common, uncommon, or rare, or then a specialist weapon. And same with armor. And beasts. So a hound, a sheep, a pony, a mule, uncommon or ox, hawk, riding steed, heavy steed, and rare beasts are chargers. People of the realms. So, yeah. How to find different services. Oh, so there are two. What is the GD? I missed that in character creation. There was I saw a GD stat. Oh, is that your glory? Let me see. Yes, Knight's Glory. Oh, guard. I'm sorry. That's the guard. Oh, no. So guard is your HP. That's right. So you roll your guard skill for avoiding wounds. Oh, that's right. So that's kind of your evasion or your save. And then the damage goes to your... so it's how you can resist damage, and then the damage goes to your virtues. Sorry. Guard. I totally missed that. So yeah. So they just give you the guard of the NPCs, the default guard. So creating a realm, breaking the rules, the guidelines on this page make a typical realm. They can be bent or broken in creating your own realms. Yes, so the hex map, the realm is mapped on a hexagonal grid covering a loose rule of a seat of power. There is a 12 by 12 grid is typical, or whether the realm is landlocked, coastal, or an island chain. Typical players get a copy of the map with the holdings and general terrain marked. They cannot see myths and landmarks and barriers. So most hexes are wilderness. Place 4 holdings a good distance apart. Place 6 myths in remote places and number them 1 to 6. And then landmarks. So there are some wilderness contain landmarks. They are discovered when traveling. Roll a 4 to 6 on the wilderness roll. A typical realm has 3 or 4 of them. And then there's dwellings, sanctums, monuments, hazards, curses, ruins. And then adding detail and distance. And then here's a way to create sites. So points and routes. So similar, to Electric Bastionland. Draw 6 points in the corners of the hexagon, and then mark 3 of them with circles. Those are features. 2 with triangles. Those are dangers. And 1 is a treasure. Oh, that's cool. So using the hexagon to create points and routes. Oh, that's really cool. Entrances, hidden entrances, breaking the rules. So the guidelines on this page are just a starting point. Rearrange the distribution, types and routes and entrances as possible. Nice, so a quick way with a hexagon to make an adventure site. And then explaining the refereeing. Oh, he went back to refereeing. He didn't call it something arcane. Primacy of action, giving information, improvisation. Yep, so the same kind of evoke, indulge, reinforce. So luck rolls. So if you need to consult the whims of faith, make a luck roll on a d6. And then, this is the breakdown. A crisis, a problem, or a blessing. Then actions have intent, leverage, cost, risk, and impact. Success and failure. This is a good explanation of kind of how to consider each of the things happening. Ending a session. At the end of the session, discuss what would feel right for a season or an age to pass between now and the next session. If it's a season, if a season or an age passes, then follow the detailed procedures. Ask the players if they have any plans. So they're talking about the phases. So the year has 3 seasons, and a day has 3 phases. A life has 3 ages: young, mature, and old. So yeah, if you advance time years, you begin a new age in spring. Then between.
Oh yeah, there. That's how you heal the between season stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah, nice. And each of the seasons has a Feast of the Sun, the Scepter Mass, and then taxes. Feast of the Stars, the Elder Mass, and a tithe. Oh, nice. Wow, very cool. Yeah, I like that, handling time that way, and you can being able to stretch it like that, and then travel. So a trek is 1 hex, a gallop is 2 hexes, and a cruise is 3 by boat or steed. And then hospitality, camping, supplies, night and sleep. So if you didn't get a proper night's sleep, you lose D6 clarity. Omens, myth hexes. So ending a phase in a hex with a myth always reveals its next omen without making a wilderness roll. When possible, the knights also get the drop on the omen. Barriers. Traveling through barriers is not normally possible. Then exploration. So the lay of the land. Each hex is a large and diverse, a land within the land. Some may spend their whole lives within one. A forest hex may have cliffs, streams, clearings, and caves. So there's a spark table on 22 to prompt you. So exploration actions. If it is unclear which virtue to use, consider for an action in a hex. Searching, vision, gathering folklore. So everybody knows something about myths. How much depends on who they are. Vassals know about the nearest myth. Knights and vagabonds have roamed enough to know about a random myth. And all of the above are rumors that warn of danger. Seers know the rules of all myths, their secrets and their location. They know their weaknesses and cures to their maladies. They all know all landmarks in the realm. Such vast knowledge isn't given freely. Nice. So yeah, give some examples of myths. So all locals know about children going missing. Right? So a seer knows that, this is discussing the myth of the goblin as an example. And then dominion, so ruling a domain. The council, the court. Crises, misrule, and claiming a seat of power. A seat of power carries similar problems to a holding, elevated to a larger scale. Authority, so mustering troops, taxes, tithes, and levies, courtly conflict, conquest. The grand designs work on existing buildings or infrastructure. And then succession, typically a ruler names a successor, though some realms defer the decision to a conclave of seers. Whoa. Nice. So here's all the, these are the spark tables for generating the things in the hexes themselves, and then civilizations, people, and combat. All right. So you roll a d6 and a d12. Read the d6 first. And then pages list the d6 in a square, and then the d12 in a pentagram. Oh, I see. So yeah. So generate your knight. So we'll go through the knights and all of the artwork. Yeah, there hasn't been so much artwork. It's been a lot of tables and text
info.
Yeah. And then to generate the myths that you put on your map. So here we go. So the true knight. Oh, this font might be a little hard to read, but yeah, look at that. The spot color and everything. It's great. So there's kind of this greenish yellow that reads kind of as gold, as a muted gold. It's very odd. It's a very an odd combination, but it seems like the base color for a lot of the layout elements. But yeah, it looks great against that purple. The true knight, a pact to uphold truth and fact. So yeah, you have property, abilities, and your passions, and you were knighted by the rotted seer. Oh, nice. The plague, and then the omens from the plague, and then the cast, the angry infected, the jolly hunter, Purging Knights, Germans, and Duncus. Oh, so, okay, see. So, yeah, a 1 on both dice is the True Knight. A 1 on the D6 and a 2 on the D12 is the Snare Knight. Immersed with... What's that?
What they're doing is, like, on the left side is a knight, and the right side is a myth, I guess.
Oh, you're right. Yep, there you go. Yeah. Oh, that's right, because at the table, it was the same generation. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's right. So knights and myths are generated the same way. So that's how they're presenting it. Yep, thank you. Yeah. So this is the Myth of the Wall. And they're both, yeah, so this is the results. And whether you're looking for a knight or a myth, that is the information. I gotcha. So 1 and 3 is the Tourney Knight. A calling brought a life of combat. Victories amassed. And then the myth is a shadow. The shadow. Wandered over here and there. Groan and grief, their guide. Nice. And then the wall is just cutting through the land, a wonder 2 storms tall. 1 and 4 is the Bloody Knight. Some were born to fight and fall, forged beneath blades clash. Nice. Yeah, I love the kind of the spot color combinations and being different for each knight. And then the myth is the river. The Moss Knight. What's that?
On one of these, go to the bottom. This is what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff on here that doesn't necessarily have to be tied to this character.
Oh,
like he loves packing stuff on his pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I need a person or a name or
yes.
a characteristic. You could just roll on that same chart,
right? So this result, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, that's a really great. So to make those results tables, generate a lot of different stuff. So not only can they generate a knight and a myth, but they can also generate a person, a name, a characteristic, an object, a beast, a state, and a theme. And then the myth can generate a dwelling, a sanctum, a monument, a hazard, a curse, or a ruin. Yeah, you're right. That's really cool. Yeah, getting a lot of use out of this 2-page spread. The War Knight, forged and broke in goreful plight. And the Goblin, on toes it crept, just out of sight. Oh, so these couplets, these are rhyming couplets. I just got that. I'm not reading both lines, but each entry has a rhyming couplet beneath it that I'm just skipping up. The Willow Knight, Titans tall, now smithereen stones. The forest rots deeper than soil, further than sea. Yeah, really like this artwork. It's so, very cool. The Gilded Knight, a beacon of brave and bold, and the child. When night met day, where water flamed, they saw the child rejoiced in name. Ooh. The Saddle Knight, a perfect steed is neither wild nor tame. And the Order, there were 6 in circle, no first among them. The Riddle Knight, a careful word can arise or fade. The dead corpses, rent of soil, their resting spirit torn. Wow. Yeah, very cool. The Talon Knight, the claw is nothing without the eye. The underworld, a place beneath the living world, but neither grave nor tomb. The Barbed Knight, stone and spikes split into flowers. Yes, and each of them, has properties. So weapons and basically a vicious charger, a hunting bow, and a jagged spear.
Oh yeah, some of them have crazy horses. We should probably be looking at those when you're looking at them.
Yeah, right. The bard is a vicious charger. The Talonite has an old steed, a shadowy horse by the Riddle Knight. A saddle knight has a just a rider's axe. It doesn't. Oh, beloved steed. Yeah, the first. Yeah, beloved steed and fine saddle. Majestic charger. A cautious steed. A stocky steed. A pale steed on a pale horse. A horned stallion. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of them is like a boneless steed.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, how does that even work?
No bones. Nice. Oh, yeah. And so each of them have a named ability that gives you something crazy. And yeah. The worms. The Grail Knight has a crow-beaked axe and a serene steed. More foxes leave trails in their stead. More than foxes leave trails in their stead. Their ability is Strands of the Past. The Pack. Woods and moors or paddocks in rain. Wolves alone chomp at the chains. The Amber Knight has a loyal steed and a patient strike. Oh, so your passion is avarice. So that's right. That's one of the healing. You indulge in your passion. Yeah, you can restore your spirit when you gain significant wealth. The sight of the eye opened my own. In its gaze, I am never alone. The Horde Knight has a beastly steed. Passion is prestige and has pack tactics. A blunt sword. The Blade. There it gleamed as glore in Meadow's sight, the star-forged blade, a mark of warborn plight. The Emerald Knight, a verdant cloak on sable steed. So you have a branch spear, a cloaked mail, and a sable steed. Fade to green. You can hide, and your passion is elegance. The Legion. Pitilly ranks fought and fell, returning stronger still. Their stares nay fade, their fear but grow. Their war, their only will. Ooh, so like an undead legion. The Chain Knight, born below the soil, below the stone, below all thought. You have a pronged mace, an obliate mail, and a tired steed. Your will of iron. Sleeping underground in complete darkness restores your spirit. That is. The Imp. In Skaldrin thrall we must endure, neath soul-bent flame, chained evermore. The Banner Knight. Beware of kindly riders, festooning flags in show. He's got a banner pike, a spike hammer, and a fat steed. He has a rousing presence, but he, if you receive social approval, you restore your spirit. Nice. The Troll, each stab, each cut, each severance regrown in whoresome matter, in warpsome matter. A regenerating troll, the Pigeon Knight, the humble know no home to call their own. A bitter glaive, tattered mail, and a gray steed. When you wrangle the truth out of an uncooperative person, you regain. Some of these might be a little tough to regenerate. The Demon, slumber stirred by rising blackened sun. The Shield Knight, in wood, hide, or iron, the armor meek or grand, so dulled sword, soothing salve, and an untested steed. So when a nearby ally would take a mortal wound, you can take out the mortal wound instead. Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'll take that for you. The Sea, a briny tempest churns, Jaden tides all swell. The Whip Knight. So some draw screams from flesh and bone, a spiny mace, strange herbs, and a pampered steed. Yikes, so you got Pain Strike and Reverence. The Elf. A steward of seasons, nature's power bestowed. Nice, and our ribbon bookmark. The Seal Knight. Knight's sworn oath outlasts the stone wall. Yet seers say in time even words may fall. So you have a stout halberd, 3 runic scrolls, and a dusty steed. So mark a weapon, a shield, or a piece of armor belonging to a non-knight with your seal. You can use use smite or deny as if you were a knight. Oh wow, they can. So you can empower weapons. You can enchant weapons. The Arc. As tools of humble lumber. Oh, sorry, the axe. Is that an X? The tools of axe. The tools of humble lumber rack. They split the log and stone. The Horn Knight. Horn cried. Hearts sank. Blood pulsed anew. So you have an antlered halberd and a wild horn. Nice, and your ability is to blow your horn in battle, and for the rest of the battle, any vigor lost through damage is doubled. Oh, jeez. That's good. Double damage, and your bluntness, passion. The Dwarf. For first story, for first seer, the time that came for time. Dwarf myth, the Dove Knight. In Serenus Moon, the best of us can rest in docile light. A stout blade, bright weeds to create a cool glow when crushed, and a mountain steed. It's a strike of serenity. The Tower. In the tapestry of ages, stretching ever forth. The Story Knight. At last I'm here. A crooked blade, a book of stories, and a sinister steed. So you can weave fate. So just before night falls, tell the story related to a nearby place, noting 2 details, past, present, and future, and the referee will secretly choose them to become truth, one of them to become a truth. Oh, geez. And then showmanship, when you deliberately draw unwanted attention. Oh, boy. There's the theater kid's choice. The Chariot, bursting forth, shroud of night. The Turtle Knight, I standing clad in in Shelby stead. A beak hammer, a drinking horn, and a squat steed. So you have an unbreakable shell. The Desert, flesh and stone and grass are naught but falsely forms. The Key Knight, sure as sky and sea, for every lock a key. A horned axe, a ring of keys, and a jittery steed. So you can retroactive forethought. Once per day, you produce a common item from your backpack that you could have reasonably acquired at a recent point. Wow. Magic backpack. And distraction. So you restore spirit when you abandon a set plan. The Mountain. How earth enjoys a lay frailty bare. The Moat Knight. There they stood awashed in soddened loam. So you get a spiked flail, a moat shovel, and a difficult steed with a wading stance. You can fight in waist-high water. The Star, the symbol of hope, the herald of ruin. The Boulder Knight. A fated charge in mail and stalwart plate. So you have a siege hammer, a handwritten book of time-tested guidance in the construction and destruction of fortresses, ramparts, and castles. And a well-fed steed. And the myth is the sun. Orient a crown, a sovereign aflame. The blaze of life can reap just the same. The Tankard Knight. A brash and bold, renowned and rude. Their presence cheered in feast or feud. You have an eagle axe and a scar from a friend betrayed, and your aggressive charger. So, humble Glamori. After eating and drinking with somebody for a few hours, they consider you trustworthy enough to speak openly about anything you ask about. And the next day, they come to their senses and realize they've revealed too much. The tankard knight, the drinking buddy.
Carouser.
Yeah, nice. All right, the moon. Nasty nether 9 of night. The owl knight, a noble one, a lord indeed who feasts on fruits of fact. A blade staff, a sack of books, and a peaceful steed. A boreal archive. Suspend a phase, running hands over a tree to access its memories, seeing anything that happened under its shade or over its roots. Wow. The lion, the creak and grind of time-worn wheel. The hooded knight. The deeds around in history script, so you have a glaive, a cloak, and a hood, and a modest steed. Unnoticed deed, so once per day you can retroactively declare an action that took place earlier that day, giving instructions to an ally or gathering a specific piece of information.
Oh, the cheater knight.
Yeah, right. Cheat code knight. And the wheel, dawn, day, then dusk, blossom, burn, then bite. The lance knight, steed aghast, spear groan, strike agore. You have a lance, ooh, a D10, mystic sight, and a wary charger. Yeah, so shattering charge, gain attack plus D12. The cudgel, the stick, and the city, both worths beyond quill. The questing knight, dream of vassal, fear of night. You have an ancient sword, a cold stone, a reckless charger. And you can pledge a quest. So swear a quest to somebody who cares. Who cares? Until you complete the quest, you cannot regain lost guard. And you get plus 12 on all attacks. The lizard is the myth of scaled. One infernal portenter, decay. The ring knight, with ring alone, head dreams of home. A long mace, a pair of rings, and aloof steed. So unbreakable circle, draw a circle in the ground with yourself in the center. Until you leave that circle, no other living thing, no other being can enter it or leave it.
Oh, wow.
That could be very powerful. The ogre from Sluggle Umbrage. Knit Gestal, decked in Grile and Grim. That ogre. The Forge Knight. Gravid beats of ferrous slab, thick air, a crimson sheen. So you have a bolt Gassarm, which is long in D10 long in melee, D10 slow ranged. Scars from the Forge. Yeah.
Bolt Gazarm. What the hell is that?
I don't know. He's looking like...
I know what a glaive Gazarm is. I've never heard of a bolt Gazarm.
Is that what he's holding?
Yeah, that looks like a glaive Gazarm.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, yeah.
He's just using different words.
Yes. Long in melee, pairing attacks. A helmed steed. You restore spirit when you're wounded by fire. The Forge Knight. And then the spider, neath Styget veils a whispering prance. The Rune Knight, under gleam of lumen light, in skin or stone a scratch. So a pillar of inscribed stone, a seal, crystal flask, and a muscular charger. Wow, you're carrying around a stone pillar. But it's 2d10. Slow, but 2d10. That's crazy. Distinguished sigil. At sunset, you can etch a cosmic rune somewhere Secret on a person, choose a number. When the die rolls that number, you may adjust it to any other value on that die. This can be formed a number of times equal to the chosen number. Wow, a different number is chosen next sunset. The Coven, in Moss and Whisper, a thundery roar.
Yeah, Hilarion mentioned in the chat that he'd actually played this a tiny bit and rolled a Rune Knight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that has to be tricky. With the you got this giant stone. That's quite a weapon, like swinging a utility pole at somebody. The Gallows Knight, in Briggs, a Dawn and Damling's Sway. So a neck catcher. Oh yeah, that's what that is. A neck catcher. Titan's Head. Sorry, Titan's Beads. Titan's Beads. 3 polished stones and a flea-bitten steed. So Carrion's Call. You speak with scavenger creatures and summon them to you. They're only helpful if you're providing them with food.
Yeah, I've always called those a man catcher.
Oh, yeah. A neck catcher.
I feel like he's just tweaking words just to make it feel a little different.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, to make it feel like this is part of the, well, in this setting, yeah. In Mythic Bastionland.
Yeah.
The Lich from Fable's Heart springs Fable's Fear, a past within a past. The Tome Knight. A loom of wisdom spun at dawn, laid to rest till coming morn. So you have a heavy staff, perfect recall, and a small steed. So dawn contemplation. At sunrise each day, choose any area of knowledge. You can ask the referee 3 questions within that area, which they answer honestly, yes or no, or maybe, if uncertain. Maybe. The White. Life itself is no prize. The Meteor Knight, a star of truth, fell from a high. Elaborate trident, moon oil, and a limping steed. I guess he fell. Or you fell on him. Starfall. You never suffer damage from falling, unless landing on something harmful. When you land from a fall from at least 12 feet, you may release a shockwave. Wow. If you reveal your identity or intentions at an inconvenient moment. Some of these are heavy role play, some of these passions.
Yeah.
The Spectre. Haunted souls find no sleep. The Gazer Knight. The blood sees through time aflow. So you have a toothed blade, a flicker lamp, and bluish steed. You can glimpse faith. So once a day, do a single action performed. You can undo a single action performed to you or your company. The Wraith, an unbirthed life, no first breath drawn. Yikes. The Wraith, the Mule Knight. Oh no, I'm gonna roll a Mule Knight. I have a feeling. Humble beast, no roar, no flight. Weighted longstaff, 3 explosives, and a tall steed. At any time you may choose to have somebody observing you utterly convinced that you are just a humble, unarmed peasant, and your steed a mule. Oh, that's cool. The Beast, in cutting coil and snatching horn, the crushing limbs abound. Halo Knight, a trail of hope across the land, in sorrow's face, bright reprimand. A crescent axe, mist vial, and a wild steed. You have luminous eruption. The Judge, in time she calls for all the knights. Upon best her blade still bites. The Iron Knight, a sword, a bends as plate affolds. So a cleaving blade, inscribed scabbard, and a dark steed. Ooh, so heightened sharpness. You can take a limb or take a head if their guard is 0. Cleaving blade does its job. The Crown, no crown brings peace, this one least. The Mirror Knight, in eyes adjust the gibbon got blow for blow from one shared lot. Oh, wow. So a hook axe, a hushing bell. Those who hear the bell hear nothing else. And a faded steed. So you have a reflection of blood. When you are wounded, the attacker suffers the same amount of vigor loss as you. When you're scarred, the attacker gets the same scar. And the boar guts burst forth in bloody flow. Dusk night. Each touch of iron takes a price. A long hammer, a pouch of wolf nuts, repellent to canines, and an auburn steed. So you can sunder memory. When you would wound a target, you can rob them of a single specific memory. Wow. The eagle, the bird of flame to claim sun's roll. Sun's toll. The coin knight. In Arger R, decisions spurn a prize, a life lost or won. Oh, spun or won. A morning star, a jaunty flute, and an arctic steed. Thrown to chance, so use, instead of attacking normally, flip a coin. Heads, the target is killed. Tails, you are killed. This is final.
Wow.
Oh, well,
extreme.
Yeah. The bat, spoil the loaf, taint the wine. The mock knight. Sycamore, leather, felt, and strings, a war flail, an unnatural body concealed beneath plate mail, and a well-groomed steed. So your impression of life, yeah.
It's the mockery from...
Yeah. A mockery knight. So you are just a puppet in plate mail. You do not truly need air. Yeah, for water steed. You are compelled to play along with when you are deprived of them. The toad, in honeyed words, a fat and charmsome lord. The mask knight. Now you call for truth from me. From me, I'll offer naught which cannot be. A splitting axe, star ink, and a silver steed. 1,000 faces, so you can assume the face of anybody you have touched, but your body and voice are unchanged. The Colossus, a legacy hewn in living rock. The Bone Knight. Ribble, rabble, rocky donk. They bounce and buckle. Dying. All right, a needle dagger, a box of bones. See below, and a marsh steed. So your bone magnate. When you make a genuine trade, a bone for a bone, learn something about the individual that that the acquired bone came from, or something that they knew in life. So you're trading bones.
So if you wanted to set this up in like alchemy, you'd have to just make a blank character sheet and make your players fill everything in.
Yeah. I think
you're not gonna load 72 pre-made character sheets.
Right. Yeah, it might be good to just make each one of these a handout. Yeah, each of the knights a handout that they have to reference. Yeah, that's very true. They're gonna need all of this information. Yeah, there is not a standard character sheet. The Salt Knight. What was the myth? The myth was the fortress. The Salt Knight, saltine stink dwells in every depth. Spined mace, an ever flask, and a scaled steed. So you can inspire ire. At the end of your turn, until your next turn, any enemies that attack targets other than you lose D10 spirit after the attack is resolved. Whoa. The Citadel, a watcher yawned. Our earthly sight, the Violet Knight, a lightless glow from neath a dream. So a grand mace, a flattering hand mirror, and a nameless steed. So you can cause any metal object you hold to emit a bright light that only you can see. Bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and hedgehogs can also see the light.
Wow.
A very specific list, yes. The Catacomb under Scarny Bough, a world beneath. The Cosmic Night, countless lights dotted in night's veil. So you have a strange crossbow, an echo stone, which can record and repeat one spoken phrase, and a boneless... oh, there's the boneless steed, yeah. Can squeeze through any gap as large as its head.
Wow.
And you have Celestial Retreat. While you can see the sky, you may focus for a minute to vanish to a distant sanctuary. Just beyond reality, you leave a small glowing stone behind. You can rematerialize at the stone at any time. Wow. The Hound, the eye of a slayer, the nose of a hound. The Temple Knight, no blood or cry, not here, not today. Not to die. A spear, a mummified snake. The reptile will not attack anyone holding it, but the snake speaks to your mind directly. A moorland steed has a faint smell of heather. So you have Sight of Respite. You may declare a building that you occupy as peaceful ground. No being within the building can bring themselves to attack another until you leave. Wow, that'll quell a bunch of uprisings. The Glade, amid the still and halt and hush. The Fox Knight, whimsied whirl, a crafty guise. So a jagged blade, sealing wax, and a tunnel steed. So you have a cunning ploy. Once per day, declare your current self to be an illusion, dispersing into smoke. The real you is watching from a safe place nearby. Ninja Smoke Bomb. The tournament, between cog and blade, a challenge thrown. The Gull Knight, tattered wing, loathed cry, born of ugly bill. So you have a hooked blade, a blinding bracelet, and a tempestuous steed. You can use guiding gust. Ascend to the top of a vertical surface, and you are touching lifted on a burst of wind. The myth is the bull. Blessed are bound for tragic end. The Magpie Knight, keen eyes, see what cold hearts seek. This bird never bears a bear of beak. So you get a heavy cudgel, twofold pouch, only retrieved by something that can only be retrieved by you. It's placed in it, and then an ironclad steed. Your scour is sense. If you are searching something for something specific, you always know for sure whether it is in your immediate surroundings or not. Wow, that's interesting.
That's useful on a quest.
Oh yeah. The Hydra, our best fall before their time. The Reliquary Knight, noble rest earned in life, final breath. So you have a war sickle, a sack of history tomes, and a bearded steed. So Spirit Call. Once per day, release the invisible spirit from your reliquary. It will follow a single specific command. It acts with general capacities of normal humans, but can be invisible and immaterial as needed. Cool. The Pinnacle of... the Spire. The Pinnacle of Stool and Shroom. The Vulture Knight. Gutly ribbons, blood's sweet dance. A black axe. A spider nip nuts that act as a pleasing stimulant to insects, and a bright-eyed steed. You have carrion casting. Spread the innards of the recently dead across the ground and ask a single question. They point you in the direction that would help. Oh yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. Is casting the entrails.
Wow.
The Vulture Knight, nice. And the Sprite, sudden gifts from Spriggle Wild. Nice. The Free Knight, no soul, no mind, should live caged or chained. So you have a hooked flail, a tempest chest. When empty, it can draw a storm within, restoring calm weather. If open, the storm is released. And a grassy steed. You have Bond Breaker, strike a chain or a lock with a metal weapon, and both shatter loudly. The Hole. In mud and root from sunken land, careful nobody plans works agrand. The Silk Knight, judge not a knight on might or labor. When silk endures, a heart can waver. So you have a delicate halberd, an intricate brass puzzle, compelling but impossible, and a young steed. So you have adamant gossamer. You can draw thin strands of silky string any length from your mouth. They are utterly unbreakable and burn to ash in an instant. Wow.
Hey.
From your mouth, you're drawing silk. Wow, that's crazy. The mist, a grimed air, updimes the gleam. The Tiger Knight, you see in beasts an anarchy unfold. So you have fang blades, 3 phoenix feathers that will erupt in flame when they touch the ground, and a tattooed steed. Tattooed steed. I hope he has tiger stripes. So you have bestial renown. Each time you defeat an animal in contest befitting its strengths, all animals of that type will react favorably to you. Oh, that's cool. All right. The gargoyle in hearthy glow, small joys take flight. The leaf knight, no greater gift than bough and bush. A hooked club, a murmur box that creates the illusion of indistinct conversation when opened, and a patchy steed. You have nature's vaults. You can wield branches as javelins or great spears, and eat leaves as a satisfying meal. The myth is a changeling when the eyes can lie and words beguile. The glass knight, revealer of all secrets in stark judgmental light. A 2-pronged pike, a witching needle, which is a 6-inch spike that can be stuck in any material and cannot be removed by anybody but you or a seer. A chestnut steed, and then the touch of glass. You can see through any surface that you place your hand upon. The Inferno is the myth, flames of greed, in earth entrenched. The Hive Knight, a bed of gluous parchly cloth, a coat of sickly sleen. You have a rot bow and tidal resin. When burned, all nearby water becomes still and solid for a while. Restock each new season. And a hooded steed. So crystalline rebirth. At night you may immerse yourself in a cocoon that means you do not fully understand, and after a full day you emerge, your vigor restored and any physical harm cured. This cannot cure death unless the process requires it. The harp, lilt, and dirge in bow astrung. All right, the Ghoul Knight, arise, arise, for what, for whom? A bearded axe, cleaner salt, and a faithful steed. You can be rebuked by death. Use when you are dead, return to life. Your body is as you left it, as are your guard and virtue scores. When you are warmly welcomed, you recharge. I don't know if you'll ever be that. The tree is the myth. Not all grows is good and fair. The Weaver Knight, this and that might be just that and this. A 2-headed axe, hush cloth, which when items are fully wrapped in the cloth, they create no noise. An orchard steed, they can sniff out fruit. And you can warp and weft. You can swap the position of an object you are holding and another object you can see. They must be of similar size and shape, such as 2 swords. The myth is the pool, idle fiends, steep mirksome brew. The Thunder Knight. Thunder should be felt, not heard, else call it a whimper. A forked spear, a caged bug, and an overfed steed. You have the voice of the skies. While outdoors, you can shout loud enough to be heard clearly throughout the whole hex and all adjacent hexes. The Elephant Myth. Booming march and children's cheer. The Dust Knight, lust and loathing, ire and desire. An old hammer, a beckoning net, which fish swim willfully into, and a spotted steed. You have aqueous repulsion. You can forcefully repel liquids with any outstretched hand, enough to hold a river, a bay for a while.
Jeez.
Wow. The snail on grimly stone, a truth be told. The fanged knight, you see now why I cannot wear a smile. You have forked blades, an ancient scroll, references places in this realm, and a noble steed. So sink teeth, you can bite for d6, someone choosing one of the following effects. It occurs only when you wound them. So they regain vigor equal to the vigor that they lose. You regain. Wait a minute. Yeah, yes, just one of the following occurring only if you wound them. So you regain vigor, lower them to normal sleep, or show them one of your memories. Wow. The melancholy, passion is melancholy. You gain spirit when you dampen the mood.
Bummer.
The bummer night. The cave, a weary soul discerns no truth or lie. The pearl night. Why lurk shellbound in the depths, awashed in solitude? You have a sea blade, a celescence, smoke from a candle that causes plants to wither and die, and a rose steed. So the gift from the deep is you produce one pearl each morning. Unless you haven't given or traded your previous pearl, you can see through the eyes of anyone that is carrying one of your pearls.
Wow.
That's really cool. The apparatus, when all the seeds are tallied and every leaf scribed down. The rat knight, in squeaking hole I squashed and curled. A pole sickle, a listening horn, when placed against the wall, hear everything from the other side perfectly. A matted steed. Ooh, you have vermin form. Take the form of a rat and squeeze into a space that a rat could fit. You can return to your normal size as soon as you're in a space that allows it. You can also speak with rats, who are generally helpful. The rock, amid the waves, a stony throne. All right, and then here is the city quest. So for the oath, for the glory, through sorrow and ache, the city, that quest to which no knight can make. So a company worthy of the city quest continues their nightly duties as normal, but when they would encounter an omen from the random myths by rolling 1 on the wilderness roll, they instead encounter an omen from the city quest. Oh, wow. Nice. Oh, and yes, and the odd apocrypha. Instead of the odd, everything has an addendum at the end. What follows are the records of a single scribe, chronicled accounts with insight into their adjuncture, that we might shed further light on the laws of this world. So Refs is the referee, and Moss is the Moss Knight, and Tal is the Talon Knight. Later, the Riddle Knight. All right. So start. Oh yeah. So wow. So this is a demonstration of play with kind of a narrative with commentary. So thoughts about it. So this is a record of discussion of start and scope, and then thoughts on it by the designer. So yeah, start and scope, character creation. Teaching the rules, primacy of action, getting rules wrong, getting stuck, taking action, exploration, danger, and combat. This is really interesting. So an example of play and then thoughts on it broken down by subjects.
That's cool.
Yeah. Gambits, unusual attacks. Yeah, it took a lot of space with this. So yeah, this must be a nice tool for using this. So the upper hand, taking damage, dynamic combat, mass combat, advancing time, trade, weapons, death, virtues, traveling, hospitality, landmarks, folklore, omens, mapping a realm between the ages, councils and court, crises. And then delving into tomorrow. So Mythic Bastionland follows on from the games Into the Odd and Electric Bastionland, which explore the world's industrial and electric eras respectively, yet unwritten games may explore other eras and areas. These games are built on the same rules, with the key difference noted opposite. There aren't exhaustive lists, but highlight some of the important things you need to keep in mind. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so kind of break down what each of the games do. So if you want to make another another time, another place of Bastion, use the content of the game that you're playing, capture the spirit of the content, use as much of the game as you like, use as little as you like, and if you're feeling overwhelmed, then just take the system take a system you're most familiar with and use that for everything. Nice. And okay, the truth of it all is kind of final words, final comment from the designer. The truth of it all: how are these worlds connected? Do they form a linear timeline from medieval age up to late modern period? Is there just one setting? The other things that are just stories that are told by its inhabitants, do they exist simultaneously? Characters able to wander from one age to another if they know the way? Yes, yes, they can. Yeah, so this is an explanation of moving through these games, or kind of how they were intended to be connected, and why the difference of mechanics. Wow, very cool. And we have another poem at the end, it looks like, after the index. I can barely read this font, so I'm not going to stumble through it. Oh, nice. And then we have the some spark tables in the back. Oh, and these are the myths. And here's all the artwork for the myths on the end paper in the back. Yeah, so the knights in the front, myths in the back. That's really cool. Wow, well laid out. And that's what's that? Go for it.
Of the three, I would say this one excites me the most.
Yeah, it's got a lot of interesting coloration. Like the details of the knights it's very unique. It's very evocative of a strange, like, kind of weird magic setting. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't see, where were the seers? Because they talked about, like, one of the things was dealing with seers. I didn't see the details of.
There was a page with seers on it.
Yeah. So it might be the. Oh yeah, seers. Yeah. Those who understand the nature of the myths, their visions grant legitimacy and directions to the knight's quest. They know when the squire is ready to become a knight, and when the knight is ready to seek the city.
Yeah, somewhere in there, though, I think there were like sample seers.
Okay. Nice.
I'm not sure.
Not sure where. Wow. Yeah, this is, really, really gorgeously produced. I really love the detail in this, and the illustrations are just wonderful. Mm-hmm. Yes. So seek the myths, honor the seers, and protect the realm. The Oath of Mythic Bastionland. Yes, so this is the latest version of Bastionland, and I think this is one. Basically, I think if we break the PDF up into pages, like all the pages of the knights, so that you could just readily have that accessible, I think that would be great, because the game master is going to need the myths that were generated, and then the players are going to need their knight. Yeah. So, what do you think? Do you think Will would be up for this? Who do you think?
Totally. I think Will would totally jump into this.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's more like the very mystical quest focused, kind of like Mallory Arthurian vibe. Whereas, like, I think like Pendragon is more about like the honor and the politics and the legacy kind of thing, and this is more about the like kind of spiritual quest aspects of it. It seems like it's
right.
Like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really like the presentation and all of the detail, and like you said, like they spent so much real estate in the book, with the descriptions of the knights and things, but they also gave them multiple uses. They gave them extra use, so that that's a really clever idea. Yeah, and once you have everything chosen, once you have the knights that the players are playing and the myths for the realm, then you can really focus on fleshing that out and how that makes sense in what you're doing. Yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. And the what I saw in videos about the sort of the campaign of going and finding the 6 different myths. It's a neat, like it's a campaign, but it's tight, so it's gonna come to a head, like it's gonna get resolved, like it's not a open-ended campaign, so that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, no, that's very very cool. And then the quest for the city awaits, and you get pieces of that, you get clues of that throughout. Yeah, I think it could be a lot of fun. Yeah, I want a lot of this art for look and feel. I wish I wish there was a whole art book, like they just did a book of like full page presented for a lot of this. It'd be great to have that, at least for just like when we're doing theater of the mind, just to have evocative images.
Totally.
Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, so definitely check out if you like what you've seen in these games and you want to see kind of the design process and all of the thinking that went into these. The Bationland.com is Chris McDowall's blog. He is also, like Matt was saying, did YouTube for a while and still does live streams when there's crowdfunding and things, and goes through, kind of does a director's commentary. I mean, I think he goes page by page through Mythic Bastionland and talks about the reasons for choices, what didn't make the book. First goes through the rules. There's a whole like hour and a half, I think, live stream about the rules, and then another hour and a half about the knights and their the choices of knights, and I'm sure there's myths then as well. So really goes through everything in the game, and just so if you're not quite sure like what's intended, or hearing the designers thinking about what these mechanics are supposed to do, and how heavy or how light they really are to or how important they are in the game. I think that really helps a lot to play the system, like kind of with what he has in mind, and then of course make it your own with the choices, and kind of you're defining some of these some of this made up English and these funny abilities of the knights.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Yeah, so any final thoughts, Matt? I think we can wrap it up. We went through a lot of pages. We went through a lot of book.
I think it's cool. I think we might want to try to figure out how to get this one in someday, add it to the list. I'm going to be watching for when this becomes available in hard copy to the general public, because I want that book. It's a really beautiful book. Yeah, they did a great job. I'm so glad, and I think after I saw what he was able to do with Free League producing this, I really wanted to see how this looked, because both of these books are really, I mean, this is a bit more, because Johan Nohr was involved, a bit more of an art object in its production, but this is the having one illustrator do this much work. I mean, this is the number of pieces that were done. I think it's like 72, right? It's like 72 nights, so there'd be 72 nights.
Yeah. So 72, 144 illustrations, beautiful illustrations for this book, and it really ties everything together and gives you a really good feeling of the setting, and just really I wonder how long that took, because that is quite an achievement. And really above and beyond, like I think that it really elevates, like if this game was just produced as a itch.io PDF, maybe the system would be fun and everything, but this luxurious production, this larger scale book, and this just real beautiful design and layout, I think really elevates it.
The good artwork is a very valid component to express the themes to the reader, like and it's very impactful the way they did it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I like how there's information, just in the depiction of the myths, there's a lot of the information that comes from the details that are in the image itself. So very, very inspirational. Could not have been an easy accomplishment. I mean, I really want to see an art book of this. I hope that it gets presented some other way, because they're really nice to look at, and a lot of detail. Like they're used as smaller plates in the book, but it would be nice to get get more detail.
You should just do a Bastion art book, like complete. You can put stuff from all of them in it.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if I miss. I'll double check the crowdfunder. I wonder if. But that's true. Yeah, everything that was done for the whole series would be fun. But I wonder if that was on the crowdfunder, because after doing this much work, you'd seem like you'd want to reward him with some sort of object.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Well, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we will see Mythic Bastionland on the channel sooner rather than later. And we'll just have to decide who's going to run it and who's going to play, who wants to play. And it should be a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us, and thank you to the members and patrons that make this channel possible. There's a join button below this video if you'd like to join the channel and get access to all the member-only videos. And on the Patreon, there's access as well to the RSS feed of the audio for our weekly show. And I think I'll be putting things like maybe our Daggerheart discussion could be a good audio only as well, because we didn't refer to things too visually. This was quite visual, so I don't think it'll work as an audio podcast. But thank you everyone for watching, and good to see everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging in there and taking a look at these 3 games. And it's a really interesting evolution of simple systems that are doing kind of interesting different things. I mean, Into the Odd feels definitely more fantasy explorer. This is more urban. This has the much more feel of a more modern urban. And then we have mythic knights and chivalrous nonsense, crazy magic. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.